Well, welcome everyone. Welcome graduates, family, friends, AGS faculty, administration, representatives from our partner institution, Arcadia University, and a very special welcome to our commencement speaker. Good evening again. My name is Michael Einig. I am a faculty member here at AGS, and I will be helping to guide you through today's program along with other members of the faculty and staff. If there's anyone who can't hear me, please raise your hand. If there's any difficulty with the audio, please let me know. But let us go ahead and get started if we could. The graduations at AGS have always been very special events. The venue itself, the French Senate, speaks to the traditions of the school and the city, which gives it its unique flavor. There is something particular about studying international relations in Paris. The backdrop where you see me sitting is not my apartment, but it is in fact the room where we normally hold the graduations in the French Senate, as I said. And we hope and expect to return to this venue at our next graduation ceremony, and we invite you all to be there as well. A few announcements, if I may. This is normally where I would be telling you to mute your phones, but given the situation, this is a bit more complicated than that. So let me just start off by, given the nature of the technology, we will have to mute the non-speakers, and I apologize for this. But I do, however, invite you to use the chat function, and most of you know how to use that, but for those who don't, depending on your hardware, the chat function is somewhere up on the right corner as one of the options. It could be under the category of more, and you press that and you'll find the chat there. But I invite you to use the chat function during the course of this evening to sign in and leave congratulatory messages to any or all of the graduates. We will retain this stream for the graduates to keep for their future. Similarly, we will post this event, the video event, on the school's website and also on YouTube. So if any of you are sensitive to this, and many people are, I suggest you close your camera mode, turn off your camera, and you will be able to see and hear as well, but you will be invisible participant. Finally, one last announcement, and I'll repeat this again later to remind everyone. After the formal event is complete, we will keep this link, this meeting, open for another few minutes afterwards to allow an informal, as they say, meet and greet between the graduates and those online. This part will not be preserved or posted, so you can be more open in your participation. Again, welcome, and let's now proceed to the event itself. I will now like to turn over the microphone, let's say, to Professor Rebecca H. Cohn, who is the Vice Provost for Academic Planning and Faculty Affairs, as well as the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences of Arcadia University. She is here on behalf of the university to welcome you all to this evening. She is a very apt individual in the context of what we do at AGS. She has a PhD, in fact, in biology from Johns Hopkins University. She has a study abroad experience in Russia, and she has been a Fulbright Fellow, and she had worked in that capacity in collaboration with a laboratory in Chile. She personifies for me, having looked at her resume and having spoken with her, the sought after balance between research, teaching, and administration. She is a fox in my mind as compared to a hedgehog. So Rebecca, if I may invite you to unmute yourself, and you have the floor. Thank you again, please.
Thank you so much, Michael, for that lovely introduction. I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you value that balance in the types of work that we do and the types of things that your students are learning to do as well. So I'll start off by saying good evening and thank you for including me in the commencement celebration for the American Graduate School in Paris. I extend a warm welcome from Arcadia University. The AGS Master's degree in International Relations and Diplomacy has been accredited through Arcadia University for over a decade, and we maintain strong connections between our institutions, including with the Master's degree program in International Peace and Conflict Resolution, which we refer to as IPCR, on our campus in Pennsylvania. That program's led by Dr. Warren Hafar. Graduates of all the AGS programs here today and graduates of our IPCR program who completed their degrees in May have in common the intellectual advancements they made, whether they were in international relations and diplomacy, peace, conflict resolution, or social justice. Equally important were the practical experiences they gained in their fields. The dedication and the expertise that today's graduates developed are certainly needed in our world. I would like to note that in addition to the connections between our graduate programs, AGS has contributed to opportunities for undergraduate students too, by supporting Arcadia students traveling in Paris as part of both our preview programs for first-year students, as well as our upper-level global field studies programs. We're grateful for our current collaborations with AGS, all of which depend on the relationships that staff and faculty members of both institutions have developed over the years, and we look forward to developing additional types of programs. It's not surprising, with the cohesiveness of our academic programs, that there are also commonalities between the missions and visions of both institutions. The end of the AGS mission states that AGS believes those able to obtain a higher education need to use this privilege wisely to help create a world more just and humane that strives to avert major crises and to prevent violence in all forms. Arcadia University recently reaffirmed our mission and developed a new vision that dedicates us to provide a learning experience that cultivates leaders who are intellectually fearless and uniquely prepared for life and work. The vision ends with the statement that our highly regarded, value-based learning community reflects the world in which we want to live. Our whole world has been reacting to a global pandemic and will continue to do so for some time. In the United States, we have also been reacting to the deaths of Black Americans and the need to address systemic racism. Graduates of programs such as the ones cultivated at AGS and Arcadia University can help lead us on the difficult paths through these experiences. The graduates today are prepared to help create a world more just and humane, and to work towards becoming that world in which we want to live. On behalf of Arcadia University, congratulations to this year's graduating class from the American University in Paris.
Thank you, Rebecca, for those rather penetrating, interesting, and very timely remarks. I particularly like the concept of intellectually fearless. And if anything, I think that's what AGS tries to cultivate in its students. I think the group today personifies that. So if I may, I'd like to move on now to actually introduce the AGS class of 220. As you probably know, and as indicated by Rebecca, AGS is a professional school offering advanced degrees in international affairs. So today we have a mix of graduates of PhD and master's programs. This group reflects the diversity that makes AGS what it is. And up until today, they have been students sitting at the feet of their elders, learning and absorbing the knowledge of generations of foreign affairs specialists. Today, however, they will change position and they will stand on the shoulders of those who went before them. They will take what they have learned, make it their own, and with their own voices, carry the discipline forward into the latter part of this century. And in terms of any one of them who might be in my position 50 years from now, into the next century. But so with their own words, let me now introduce the class of 2020 in their own voice.
My name is Khalid Jaferi and I'm graduating PhD student. Studying in Paris was a dream of mine, and I'm reminded of what Ernest Hemingway once said. If you're lucky enough to have lived in Paris as a young man, then wherever you go for the rest of your life, it stays with you. For Paris is a movable feast. Now I think AGS was my intellectual movable feast.
Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Mamadou Ali Jallo. 2 years ago, in September 2018, I began my journey to earn my master's degree, Masters of Art in International Relations and Diplomacy. I began this journey with Léonce Nessi and Elie Boutoy. Now here we are at the end of the 4 semesters. We are about to receive our diplomas. Special thanks and appreciations go to the following people: Ambassador INEC, Dr. Anand, Professor Yates, Dr. Milavidov, Mr. Tucker, and Professor Larzantai. Not forgetting Corentin, who helps me a lot to improve my oral French. My experience at AGS was more or less a challenge, starting from assignments that kept me awake at night, explaining myself to the VA that I was doing very well, and earning my second master's degree with Université de Paris. I thank you all.
Hello, my name is Toby Achidume, a PhD graduate of International Relations and Diplomacy from American Graduate School in Paris. So I started my journey with AGS in 2016, and it was an amazing journey for me, very productive. My professors, the school was so dedicated to delivering and giving top-notch lessons and ensuring and making sure that students understood what was taught. From the very first semester to the very last semester that I had classes, it was very helpful, understandable, and the classes made a lot of sense to me. The timely response of my professors as well when I asked questions or needed clarifications with things, from my very first semester of taking classes even up to the last phase of my PhD writing, they were very helpful with responding to emails that I would send at 2 a.m., which made a lot of sense to me because I could get responses as soon as I had the questions. So thank you so much, AGS. Thank you to the administration, Corentin, Chrisandra, Marinella. Thank you so much, Professor Yates, my supervisor, Professor Anand, for responding to my emails at 3 a.m. in the night. Thank you, Ambassador INEC, for the meetings that you had with clarifications for me. Professor Toka, thank you so much, all my professors, and thank you, AGS, for making my journey a productive and smooth one.
My name is Boutoy Eri, and I'm graduating from American Graduate School, AGS. When I came to school, I thought I have more to offer, but in the end, it was the other way around. Actually, as the school has offered me even more, now I have become a better researcher, thanks to all my professors, particularly Dr. Yates, who have taught me how to do a research design, and of course, Dr. Anand, who have taught me how to apply theory into the research. So that's something I can always take with me. Also, the school being in France is something that has helped me to experience both French and the European cultures. So in my lifetime, I have exposed to African culture, American culture, and now European culture, and that's memory I can always take with me. I want to also mention that while I was in France, my French was improved a little bit because I was able to apply and practice my French. So that's another bonus I get for coming here. I want to thank my family and friends for all their support and the help. Without their journey, without the help, I would not have completed this journey. And there's no have still a long way to go, but they're always on my side. Thank you.
My name is Gabriela Lemos, and my journey with AGS began a few years ago when I decided to complete the dual master's degree in International Relations and Diplomacy at AGS and the Diplomacy and Strategic Negotiation program at Paris Sud. I can't emphasize enough how happy I am to have completed my degrees here in a city that I love, and I have been able to meet so many wonderful people who have now become like family. I've also had the opportunity to experience a few memorable events, such as the 2015 Paris attacks and the now COVID pandemic we are facing today. And although these are not happy events, they are definitely memorable. On a different note, I would like to thank my family and friends for being my support system, for motivating me whenever I needed that little extra push, and for always being ready to listen. I would also like to thank my advisor, Professor Mariam Habibi, for guiding me, for keeping me on track, and for being available to me whenever I had any questions regarding any of my work. Last but not least, I would like to congratulate my fellow graduates for their achievements, and I hope that all their aspirations come to fruition. So again, congratulations, class of 2020.
Hello, everyone. My name is Léonce Nissi. I learned about AGS a few years ago. I wanted to come here to study because I love the program, but I was busy working. Then in 2015, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I underwent chemotherapy, surgery, radiation, and chemobrain resulted in me having difficulty concentrating and making me more forgetful, stressed, and depressed. I didn't know what to do because I was in the point where I had to restart my life. And then it dawned on me, why not go back to school? To make a long story short, I arrived in Paris and was unable to find an apartment to live in, and my chemobrain made it so difficult for me to concentrate and memorize in class. I didn't know that going back to school would be so challenging for me. I was so stressed that I spent almost 2 years taking medication to sleep at night. So while here, I have made friends, classmates who has become sisters and brothers. Now today, I am in the finishing line. I thank God because He has been good to me. Without Him, I will not be able to accomplish this. I am telling you my story to lift your spirit up. If I can complete this program after battling stage 3 breast cancer and chemobrain, then definitely you can do better. In every difficulty, in every trial, God always make a way of escape. Never give up your dream to pursue your education. Today, at this very moment, after all hard work and sleepless night, the sun has finally risen and is shining on me. And I am humbly and proudly sitting here in your presence as a graduate with a dual master degree. Oh, to God I give the glory. I thank my professors for their dedication to see us succeed. I thank you all, and God bless you. Thank you.
Well, thank you all very much. I think it's very clear that this is obviously a fearless group, intellectual and otherwise. And it is a challenge as a teacher to rise to the occasion, to meet them where they are in terms of experience, in terms of intellect, and in terms of desire. And I'm very proud to have been a part of their education over these 2 years. Several years. Let us move on to the actual awarding of the diplomas. And for doing so, I would like to give the floor to Professors Anand and Yates for the awarding of the certificates and the honoring of the students. Ruchi, can you take the lead, please?
Myself. Thank you, Ambassador Einik. I will take over. All right. Good evening, graduating class of 2020 and all the guests, real or virtual. Upon the recommendation of the appropriate faculties of the American Graduate School in Paris, upon successful completion of all degree requirements, on behalf of AGS and Arcadia University, it is my honor and privilege to hereby confer upon you with Professor Douglas Yates your hard-earned degrees with all the rights, privileges, obligations, and immunities thereinto appertaining. I will first call upon students who are physically present at the American Graduate School in Paris. I will then call upon the students who are not physically present at AGS. All right, we will start with Mamadou Aliou Diallo from Sierra Leone and the United States of America, Masters of Arts, cum laude in International Relations and Diplomacy. Léonce Nissi from the Democratic Republic of Congo and the United States of America, Masters of Arts in International Relations and Diplomacy. Gabriela Lemus from the United States of America, Masters of Arts in International Relations and Diplomacy. Tobi Atsudume from Nigeria, Doctor of Philosophy in International Relations and Diplomacy. Eli Wutoi from Burundi, Masters of Arts in International Relations and Diplomacy.
Congratulations, Ellie.
Khaled Ali Al-Jafari from Qatar, Doctor of Philosophy, cum laude, International Relations and Diplomacy.
Congratulations, Khaled.
Thank you, Dr. Yates. Thank you.
We may probably all applaud. I will give a virtual applause because I can't help myself. I know I've been on reaction, but a round of applause. You have now officially graduated and you are now AGS alumni. I have learned as much as you have learned from us.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to the class of 2020, or should I say social distancing graduates of 2020. Now I invite Mamadou Aliou Diallo to deliver his speech on behalf of the Masters of Arts graduates of the class of 2020. Mamadou.
Mr. Speaker Charles Hoba, Master of Ceremony Ambassador INEC, special guest Dr. Rebecca Cohn, lecturers and staff of AGS, honorable guests, fellow graduates and students. It is a privilege and honor to stand before you on such a memorable occasion to say a few words. I want to start out by saying thank you to the AGS staff, fellow students, and most of all to Almighty God for helping us every step of the way. It has been an amazing journey since September 2018 that the class of 2020 members will most likely never forget. 2 years ago, the class of 2020 was just walking through the door of the American Graduate School in Paris to earn our master's degree. And we have had many memories over the course of our 4-semester journey. We all have different theses, but we all are bound by the same goal, which is to graduate. I began this journey with Leonce Nisi, who after surviving cancer went against all odds and challenges to earn her master's degree as the first member of her family. Ellie Butoy, who lived in a refugee camp as a refugee for 14 years, and he is the first in his family for generation to earn not only a master's degree, but also a bachelor's degree. And we are concluding this journey with Gabby, the second of 8 kids of her family to earn a master's degree. And she wants to invest herself in the career of art, culture, and languages. We are your class of 2020, not just because we sprinted our way to pass every semester, but because we put in the assiduous work and the effort to arrive where we are today. And we could not have done that without our professors, doctors, and fellow students who were constantly encouraging us to keep up the good work. Special thanks and appreciation go to Professor Yet, Dr. Anand, Dr. Milavito, Ambassador Ainek, Professor De La Zantai, Mr. Toka, Dr. Habibi, Professor Kelman, Corentin, my source of oral French, Corentin, my source of oral French, Cassandra, Maranella, and Joseph. It is not all about whether we look good or fit at AGS, but it is about the legacy that we will leave at AGS once we graduate. Nelson Mandela once said, everyone can rise above their circumstances and achieve success if they are dedicated and passionate about what they do. That's exactly what Leonce did. That's exactly what Leonce has done after surviving cancer to earn her master's degree. That is exactly what Ellie has done after surviving civil wars in his native Burundi and trauma in degrading refugee camps to earn his master's degree. The challenges of Gabby, Leonce, and I, the challenges that Gabby, Leonce, and I faced during our last 2 semesters at AGS were compounded with our parallel pursuit of our second degree at Université de Paris. We were able to overcome those challenges because we were dedicated and passionate about what we did, as Nelson Mandela put it. In conclusion, we, the members of the class of 2020, are going to walk out of here today feeling proud of all we have accomplished over the last 4 semesters. And we should always have in mind that it is not about the friends that we make while we are at school that counts, but the memories that we leave behind us. Thank you all for your undivided attention.
Thank you, Mamadou. Now I invite Dr. Khalid Ali Al-Jafari to speak on behalf of the PhD graduates of the class of 2020. Doctor, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Anand. Esteemed guests, faculty, and my fellow AGSs, I'm honored to be one of your speakers today and to deliver this year's student commencement speech. The past 4 months were unexpected and tough. And you might have heard the phrase, tough times call for tough measures, as we are living and experiencing an unprecedented time. This unprecedented time of the coronavirus pandemic has been a human challenge in every aspect of our existence. It's social, political, economic, and most importantly, international. I recall what Stephen Wall wrote in 1998, One World, Many Theories, where he argued that international relations theories do not only form public discourse, but also shape the process of policymaking, especially as we're seeing the world being troubled by how to contain the virus and overcome the pandemic. The different measures taken by countries across the globe are what Stephen Walt underlined the fundamental disagreement about the basic forces that shape international relations and outcomes. And we are part of the broader conversation when it comes to those international outcomes. We are those who studied and examined the forces of the political reality and the international system we live in. The international system is built on ideals and principles that we examine throughout our coursework at AGS. It is a set of skills that AGS has equipped us with in order to understand and navigate those forces: critical thinking, tools of analysis and writing, communication, and most importantly, leadership. All of these skills allow us to become a driving force in taking any function at the international level. What we learned at AGS is invaluable, and the field of international relations requires our mastery of the topic we learn. My own conviction in today's globalized and competitive and interconnected world that is studying international relations and diplomacy is critical and essential in any government, in any business, in any international not-for-profit organization. The role we play as those who specialize in the field is our ability to examine the main forces influencing the social, political, and economic structure of the international order, and also our ability to work on a policy decision, recommendation, and dealing with these forces and their actors. For some of you, your career is just about to start. And for others like me, will continue to be involved and engaged in the field. And I would like to take this moment and share with you some of what I think will be helpful in your career. First, get virtually involved. What this pandemic has proven to us is that how digital enablement is the new model of operating in any work environment. That is the opportunity to attend conferences, participate in seminars, and partake in any think tank debates are available to you no matter where you are. Second, shape your digital twin. What this pandemic has also proven to us that we are virtually and digitally alive. By that, our digital existence mimics our thinking and our values, especially if you're looking to connect with opportunities or future employers. Your LinkedIn profile is essentially your digital twin, and developing and improving your LinkedIn platform, including posts and interaction, will help you define what you wish the world to see you as. Third, do any task assigned to you, no matter how small it is. As you start your career, you definitely have the drive and motivation to do anything. And you might think a small job assignment as being insignificant, but they are significant to the professional person you will become. These small assignments are your building blocks. With time, will drive your performance and dependability and will showcase your professional ethics and values. Fourth, study the leadership styles you admire, reading about the different styles of leadership that exist today. And learning about how leaders at your workplace or even in your community behave will help you define your own leadership philosophy. Focus on the qualities that you can develop or improve. And with time and practice, you can have your own strategy and career goals. Remember, our success as AGS depends on our personal leadership philosophy and our intellectual acumen. And before I end, in the words of the late AGS president, Eileen Servillo, please do not allow AGS to be just part of your past. And I would like to continue and say that your journey is just starting, and we should always find an intellectual safe place in AGS to grow our network and connections. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Khalid. That was very insightful, as what we would expect from you, to be honest. And we appreciate that very much from both speakers. In fact, I think I'll use that in my diplomacy course next September. It's quite good, and I'll ask you to send it to me. So again, thank you both very much. We're now moving on to our commencement speaker, who we expect momentarily online. We're quite pleased and fortunate to have with us today Charles M. Yuba. His presence today, in fact, is one of the positive aspects of this new normal. Charles is currently serving as a special advisor to the president of Senegal and has been good enough to take time out of his busy schedule to join us from Senegal this evening. And I cannot think of a better speaker for this event, for this particular group, and for our school. Charles is born in Germany and has had a varied and extremely interesting career. Politically, he has been a member of the German parliament, but interestingly enough, he has also been an actor with a starring role in one of Germany's most well-known criminal serial shows. But after speaking to him a few times, what I find most compelling about him is his role as an author, a commentator, I would like to say a philosopher and a thinker. He is thinking about the place of Africa and Africans in the world. Writing from his unique perspective, he addresses the narrative of Africa, particularly as it is defined in Germany, how the image of Africa is used, distorted, and even abused for domestic political purposes. Like many of us, he wrestles with the narrative of what is Africa. in terms of Africa as well, in terms of its diaspora and of its minorities. But rather than do this as a talking head on German media, he has the courage to commit himself to Senegal and to Africa. As they say in the US, he walks the walk. In a world where so few people actually think, contemplate, and reflect, I am very pleased that we have a person that does all three as our speaker this evening.
Okay, my name is Charles Huber. I'm a former member of the German Parliament for the Christ Democrats, and actually I hold the position of a special advisor of the president of Senegal, Macky Sall. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Charles. Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Welcome. I begin my speech. Are you ready for me?
Yes, we are. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Yes. Dear graduates, today is your very special day. It's your day, so allow myself to say hello to you first. Hello also to the special guest of the 2020 graduation ceremony of the American Graduate School, Mrs. Dr. Rebecca Cohn from Acadia University, and of course, hello to the Master of Ceremony, Ambassador Michael Einig. Thanks for your, thank you very much for your introductory words, Michael. I didn't hear them, but I think I can live with them. And thanks also to Fatimata Menifee for making the connection here. Yes, your life starts now. This is the moment where you have to take the things more into your hands than ever before, graduates. Your work and your achievements on the educational level, the accomplishments you have sown over the last couple of years is what you will start harvesting in the near future. And that is a big transition for somebody who was used to listening to other people's expertise. To those of your professors, of course, learning from them, to somebody who wants his own expertise to be heard. And that's the intellectual transition. From the economic point of view, it is also a fact that you want to see that what you invested in your education pays off. I mean, through an adequate position, but of course, a good salary. And that's why, of course, most of you will ask themselves the question right now of what is coming up now. In an academic process, you analyze issues which are at least to a certain extent already defined. Now, dear graduates, you are the issue. You as a person in combination with a variety of contents, those you have worked out and those which are a part of your personality. Now, you have to deal with all these elements in order to get the job you always wanted to have. You have to send out your CVs and continue with your performance during a job interview. And those of you who are not already linked to the world of politics, diplomacy, think tanks, and governmental institutions, those of you who don't already have family which can teach you what the reality of the job looks like, my advice to you is to inform yourselves properly on how these institutions function and what the task of the respective department is where you apply for a job. I'm sure that your professors and the academy have already given you the best possible input to achieve your goals, but at the end, you are the one who has to handle the match. with your rhetoric, performance, your intellectual ability, and last, with your overall personality. More than in a technical job like an engineer, you may also ask yourself if there is a special role model you should or can follow in terms of your professional attitude. You may also ask yourself if some of your particularities on the personal level, gestures, mimics, and so on, correspond with your new role as a diplomat, for instance, as somebody who is part of a political context and representative of his or her country. You may also have seen in House of Cards that people rehearse their words in front of a mirror. This is not my personal approach. In my personal opinion, as long as you are a part of a governmental institution which is based on democratic principles, don't lose the Mary or Isatu, the Frank or the Carlos. Okay? Don't lose anything to what makes you the person you are. Trust the process in finding your inner position in your new professional role. Talking about my experience as a Black actor who played, before I was a member of German parliament, a detective in an otherwise white, European, typical German setting, a role totally against the usual stereotype. Not as a drug dealer, I wanted to say not as a pimp, but as a detective who takes white people into custody. And I am not talking about 2020, I'm talking about 1984. That's when I entered the show. And I asked myself, of course, how much Charles, with all my personal particularities, a German audience could digest. The expectation of an average, relatively stiff German TV cop was different in nearly every aspect compared to my overall personality. And also, I couldn't hide my Southern dialect, which was very unusual in such a program, and also in terms of the color of my skin in Germany. So just recently, I saw a movie with a former colleague of mine, Christian Berkel, who played a German director in an American movie, and he spoke with this typical German antique theater approach invented by an actor, very famous in Germany, theater actor named Gustav Gründgens. And he spoke like, yes, hello, my name is Otto Preminger. And I imagine when me, as a person who looks like I do, speaks in the same way, like, hello, my name is Henry Jones and I'm a detective. I have to take you into custody. I mean, this is the stereotype of a German, and I thought I didn't really fit into that, so I kept a part of my dialogue. And yes, so that was my decision when I came to the set the first time. I said, just stay Charles and do your job as a cop. The lines you have to speak and the whole setting makes you already a credible cop, at least to a certain extent. So my contract at the beginning was over 4 episodes. That was it. Nothing was clear. My future after that was not clear, but at the end, I did over 120, and the show doubled in foreign sales and sold to 125 countries in the world. It obviously worked, and why am I telling you that? If you want people to listen for more than 5 minutes and keeping you also in mind after the event, as a person, you need to obtain a certain level of authenticity in your performance. And especially when you have to give a speech in front of more than 10 people. And the issue is not too technical. What I want to say is, don't mutate into a talking robot. But on the other hand, if you got nothing of quality to say, your speaking abilities will not allow you to present yourself as an expert. When I went into Parliament, having been an actor before, some people said, yes, Mr. Hoover, you as an actor, this is not a problem to hold a speech. I said, yes, I had to explain them that if you are not sure what you're talking about, you will feel like at a grill party. And not beside of the grill, but on the grill. In most of the cases, I have to say, content beats posing. And there is a German Jewish social psychologist who immigrated to the US in the 30s by the name Erich Fromm. And he divided competence into two dimensions: fictitious and real competence. The first one is already connoted by the job one has. The second one is evaluated on the factual level. Yes, graduates, you can see that the phenomena of complacency is not only a matter of subjective perception, but also an item of empirical studies. Ideas. Good ideas are scarce anyway. Keep that in mind. In science, politics, in show business, all over. So, be careful where you spread your ideas, especially in a mood of enthusiasm. You may be very surprised to hear it from somebody else, or worse, you see them implemented if it was a good one, without you getting any credit of it. Good politics, good diplomacy is not only knowing how to react on what is happening at the moment. Good politics is even more about knowing what will happen in the future. As good politics is also based on anticipation, especially in foreign policy. It is also a fact that detecting causal relationships is not given to everybody. Some people have the same sort of information as you have, they come to a totally different conclusion. Nowadays, the world appears in a way smaller, as traveling is easier, access to information is easier. But due to the big amount of information, everybody is confronted with the world has also, with the fact that the world has also become more complex. Information opens a bigger variety of scenarios and options, and the question is mostly which one to choose. Always, I mean always, know more than you have to know. Be obsessed with additional knowledge and information related somehow to your job. And you will be able to develop your own analytical scheme on a lot of things after a certain period of time. Somebody who doesn't take the effort to analyze things by oneself, a copycat, will never see nor create a big picture in the moment one should. Align yourself, interdisciplinary. You will understand more about your job as you understand more about your life and even more about yourself. You're in Paris, meeting a French colleague or a French diplomat, a French politician. He may also like to talk to you about Descartes or about Rousseau. And especially in France, if you're not able to talk about literature and philosophy, you will be intellectually degraded right away. And in a personal meeting with a French general in Africa, and he lived close to the German border, and he asked me about all kinds of things about German history. I'm not a, how can I say, I'm not a general. I'm not in the military. I just said when it started to get a little bit too close, and I said, why is he spying out on me? Does he really want to know if I'm a real patriot, a German patriot, and I know the whole history? Basically, I did not, but I just said, you know, General, I just know about Waterloo. It was 1850. It was a Belgian city, and there was a British general who defeated Napoleon. I just know with the contribution of a German general, his name was Blücher. So, end of the story. Studying the basics of Greek drama can help you to structure your work and making your ideas more transparent to others. Read about the sophists and the dialogue and dispute with Socrates. As a diplomat, you have to address the challenging task to convince people. There, the question can be to present yourself more as a searcher of truth, like Socrates, or a sophist, a little bit like a rhetoric acrobat who has to express the position of his government in the best possible way. Dear graduates, luckily we don't live in times anymore when the barrier of bad news was killed, decapitated like in the Middle Age. So definitely the job of a diplomat became a lot more attractive. History. History is not just history in a book which is buried in a remote corner. History may explain to you why people think as they think, and sometimes also why they act like they do. But don't only spend time to analyze others. That's not enough. Also analyze yourself. I mean, in front of yourself, not on Facebook or Instagram. Here, you better do it the other way around. I mean, a self-assessment. And I mean it ruthless and brutal. Why? It will improve your power of judgment in general, about all kinds of things, and also about people and mentalities. And the better you know yourself, the better you know others. And in spite of all the differences in behavior, whether based on religion, culture, or whatsoever, there are some universal elements which connect all of us, and these elements are sometimes to be found beyond words. Maybe you fancy the idea of displaying excessive coolness. All right, do so if you want to. But sacrificing empathy in front of the altar of arrogance is not always a good idea. Rather, be a little bit humble, be grateful that the Creator has expressed this form of talent through you as a person. So don't forget who you really are without your suit, without your tie, your office, your driver, and so on. And once you are in a position to have all that, don't forget an office over a longer period of time works just as well as the boss does. Don't just rely on your stuff, but lead by example instead. Solutions. Sometimes you can see solutions when you need them. And if you don't have 100% solid solution for the moment, especially in terms of a significant problem or conflict. Improvise and learn based on conflict. Improvidos apto quod victor. That's how the Romans said it. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. This is a very personal advice. If you're angry with your boss, don't pick up the phone immediately. This can be a very important advice. Sleep over it one night. And that's something what I've learned from my dad, who was a diplomat as well. And I don't want to tell you how his career ended. A Japanese proverb says, the lucky earns through the experience of others, the unlucky one by his own. But that does not mean that he should pay too much attention on criticism or good advices from a competitor or even an enemy. Yes, dear graduates, at the beginning of my speech, I said challenges in the context of world politics do not become easier, even when the world, through logistic and a variety of communication options and technologies, give us the impression that it became smaller and less complicated. I beg to differ. We live in a quite volatile environment politically, even though some bipolar constellations of conflict disappear, some new ones show up. The uprising of transforming countries created new economic and geopolitical effects. At the same time, a lot of undesirable things have remained with us, like racism. Racism exists all over the world and for different reasons. The climate problem is real. We have to realize that the stronger the population on our planet grows, the more we have to live with and not against the nature. And also, the battle of the distribution of natural resources will get more and more intense, as it already is. The problem of terrorism is not solved yet, neither is COVID-19. You, ladies and gentlemen, will enter the world of politics in an exciting time. Great challenges will be waiting for you. And as has been immortalized in Greek mythology, true leadership emerges with the abundance and depth of the challenges at hand. Leadership appears in various forms, some direct, some less apparent, but still important. But when you, as a human being, gets into a position of power, don't forget one thing. The people you represent are human beings by themselves. In this respect, dear graduates, I wish you all the best and good luck. Take care and do your best.
Charles, thank you very much. That was clearly one of the best commencement speeches I have ever heard. In my introduction, which unfortunately you did not hear, I said that in a world where so few people actually think, contemplate, and reflect, that I am pleased that we have a speaker tonight who does all three, and you clearly showed that.
Thank you.
Your presentation was practical, theoretical, as well as philosophical. And it's a tremendous way for these students to start. So again, I apologize for the bit of confusion, but the end result was well worth it. And I thank you again on behalf of myself, the graduates, and AGS. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
I'd like now to move back, if we could, to the AGS classroom for some concluding remarks and thank yous before we proceed to the meet and greet. Doug, are you there, Clinton?
So I'm going to try to address both the camera, which is here, and the people in the audience here. I've only prepared a 3-hour speech. Hope you have enough tape to record this. The people who are seated here have had a hellish year, starting with a transportation strike and in the fall, protests by Yellow Jacket alt-right sort of bizarre characters occupying the squares and blocking up the cities, Brexit, an idiocy whose repercussions will ring forever, but have already started to cause problems for those trying to fly back and forth to the United States through London and continue their education abroad. And then finally, the COVID crisis, which forced us all to deal with one another as we're dealing now with one another through this mediated universe of the internet, with all of its technical glitches and challenges. And when it came time to having a graduation, there was a strong appeal in the end, I was glad to say, to have something in person here in the school. And so God did intervene and let us do this. And for those of you who can't be here, I hope you can share in our effort to create the spectacle of true human presence. I'm really proud of everyone who I've worked with here over all of these years. I've scarred them emotionally and psychologically. They'll never forgive me, but whatever they face now won't scare them. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Congratulations to all of you graduates of the AGS class of 2020, or should I say the social distancing class of 2020. I am sure that the tassel was worth the hassle. It has been my pleasure, honor, and privilege to have had the occasion to get to know each one of you. I am proud of you, and so is AGS. While the world around us was uglied by COVID-19, socio-economic, political, and humanitarian crisis, you were painstakingly and diligently researching, writing, and advocating your ideas that impact the world. I have one simple message for you. Take pride in how far you have come and have faith in how far you will go. Congratulations again to each one of you, and I look forward to staying in touch and seeing where you go next.
I'd like also to thank, before we close, the entire staff for working tirelessly to do this event. Tiffany, Cassandra, Collentine, all of the group at AGS doing it with me via the internet. I'm very happy that we've had a representation from Arcadia in the States. We work very closely with them. Professor Warren Hopner is a colleague that I've actually known for quite many years, and it's always a pleasure to deal with him, with Rebecca as well. So it's a very comfortable relationship, and I'm very pleased that we've had them with us today. I want to close by thanking you all very much for your participation. We worked hard, as I say, to try to make this as memorable as possible in a good way. I hope it's the one and only time we will actually have to do this, but I think it actually is part of the process of these students graduating into a world that is different than the world that I graduated into some 50 years ago. And at every stage of those years, I felt that the technology had reached some high point. I remember the first cell phones, for example. I remember when faxes happened. And today technology seems to be moving even more quickly. But the truths of how we do our job are constant, it seems. And I think Charles laid them out very well. Be yourself, be true to yourself. Don't try to be true to anyone else. Have the courage of your convictions, and you will do okay. So again, it's been a pleasure for me to participate in this and to be a part of this process. As I said at the beginning, we'll be keeping this channel open for a little bit for people to continue to talk to each other. So I would then, in conclusion, wish you all a good evening, and please stay healthy. Goodbye.